This is Lisa Steinberg from Starry Constellation magazine. I am joined by the very lovely Jennifer Robertson to talk about season three of Ginny and Georgia.
Let's talk about it.
Oh my goodness. I mean, I am sure like the very first question that anyone ever comes up to you ask now is like, when is season four? Because
I
they don't
know.
understand what a binge watch
I,
is.
we will be shooting season four. It is coming. It won't come fast enough, I think, for everybody on that. We always leave them on a cliffhanger.
Exactly, exactly.
Mhm.
You always leave him wanting more, and that's,
Right.
that's par for the course is
That's
a good
right.
TV series that does leave you wanting more, and then Ginny and Georgia fills that fix for us. So, um, I'm appreciative and I'm grateful to hear that hopefully on the horizon, season four will have more for everyone, of course, to keep talking about.
Yeah, listen, I can't wait to see what's going to happen in season four. I don't know either, so we're all waiting.
Well, switching back here, of course, to season three, which
Yeah.
has just come out, and
Yes.
congratulations on the new season as well. When
Thank
you
you.
started to receive the scripts for season three, and you kind of maybe started mulling through what's going to happen over the core of the season, what kind of stood out for you? Whether it's for, of course, your character Ellen's arc and development for the Baker family, or
Yeah.
maybe the tone of the season as a whole.
Well, I think anyone who's watched it will agree it's a very intense season emotionally um, for most of the characters. I don't know if there's anybody who's chill. Is there anyone who's just putting their feet up? I don't think so. It's a very intense season for everyone. It's a more intense season for Ellen, for sure. Struggling with helping Marcus or really understanding what's happening with Marcus, which I think, you know, I think Ellen and Clint do their best, but I think some things kind of for the hopes and dreams that Ellen had that everything would be okay. I think things maybe came to a boiling point because she just wanted everybody to be good, which everyone wants. But sometimes your kids or your family or your loved ones are not good, and it has to be faced.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
you do, every parent feels like they're doing the best that they can with the
Yeah.
situations that, are they're dealing with, this season. There's Marcus's depression, and then there's,
Yeah.
of course, alcoholism and other
Yeah.
other topics as well that are quite heavy and emotional. Like we and
And poor Maxine, that's kind of the fallout of all of it, and like is secretly very sad and is just isn't getting the love and support that she needs. Well, yeah.
yeah, I'm an identical twin myself,
Oh,
and
wow.
so
Okay.
there's a lot of Maxine and Marcus that I relate to, and family dynamics that I can relate to as well. So
Amazing.
this
Wow.
season of Ginny and Georgia, and a lot of seasons of Ginny and Georgia for the Baker family portion, have
Yeah.
been quite relatable. I'm much older than they are, but there hasn't been a point where someone wasn't a teenager
Yeah.
that didn't have certain things
These
that
are
they
tales
struggled
as old
with.
as time. There were
Right.
people in Egypt having the same family dynamics. We've all, yeah, yeah, exactly. That's so cool. You have a twin. What's your twin's name?
Jamie.
Jamie.
Yes,
Okay.
we're not a Maxine and Marcus,
Yeah.
M name, but we're Jamie and Lisa.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Cool.
yeah, we're the best of friends. And of course, in Maxine and Marcus's way, maybe they're not always best of friends, but they love each other and they show it in different ways, of course, and the way that they care for each other. So
And in a lot of moments, I think in season three, especially for Max, for Marcus, she really does show up for him. And it's pretty sweet.
yeah.
Yeah.
Above all else, I mean, our family can be going through like the worst of times or certain struggles, and we still care, we still love them, even if we show it in, certain ways or
Yeah.
maybe not the way that they would want us to at times too.
It's learning, right? It's learning how to help people, and certain people want help in certain ways, and yeah, as long as everybody loves each other and is trying their best, you'll get there eventually. Might not be till the finale, but you'll get there. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
What I love about your character, Ellen, is that there's a lot of great nuance to her. I mean, she's not just your typical suburban mom, and you get this nice heart and humor with her too. She's gonna give you a hug, but also like slap you with some sarcasm at the same
uh-huh.
time while drinking wine.
Yeah, yeah. I think I parent similarly myself. I've used sarcasm as a parenting tool, not against my child, but as a teaching tool from very early on. Yeah, she is. She's not your typical mom, which is what appealed to me initially when I read the pilot. I was like, this is a woman who's interesting and interested in people and doesn't care about public appearances and things the way that a lot of the other people in Wellsbury do. And then thankfully, Georgia comes along, and now she is a friend to be a not typical mom with.
Yes, exactly. And they're so well put they're so well put together. You know, when one can lean on the other and support
Yeah,
and also like the crazy chaos of their family kind of melding together at the same time too. Marcus and Ginny and Maxie and
yeah.
Ginny and
Everybody's going through stuff.
yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, Ellen certainly, you know, like we talked about, is juggling a lot. And then, of course, like we said, you know, the season even more so with the Baker family, but also, of course, Georgia being on trial.
yeah.
Um, how does Ellen really kind of sustain herself during this really big, difficult, heavy period?
That's a good question. I want to say she does yoga. I think there's some yoga that happens somewhere in there. I mean, I think she's an optimist, obviously, and has a big heart. And so while she, wavers a little bit once the some big information is revealed about Georgia, we kind of knew she was going to come around. It's not like she wasn't going to show up for a friend. And, um, yeah, she's a big heart. She believes in everybody.
And those are the types of friends that, you know, like, you need in your life because you need that kind of support and that encouragement. Again, you know, people, you know, you're getting certain information or you know, hear certain things, but ultimately, like you said, like the good heart is that compass that Ellen has that really keeps her going, whether it's for her family or Georgia or really anyone in her orbit. And I
Yeah,
really
it's
admire that.
unconditional, right? We all need unconditional connections in our lives that even when things are very bad, you still know that that person cares about you. And yeah, we all need those people. I mean, none of us are going to murder anybody, but in case we do, good to have a few friends. It'll be like, I'll show up in court for you.
Of course. I mean, there's the people who are there at the wedding that are like, you know, I'll give you the getaway car if you need, you know, like
Yeah,
you're having
yeah,
second thoughts, or you
exactly.
know, if the people first they plan your bachelorette, then they say,
Yeah.
well, then you need a getaway car. Then they're like, if you're on murder trial, I'll be there for you.
I'll be there for you.
I mean, isn't
Absolutely.
that what you know the show Friends was all about? You know, like I'll be there
Totally.
for you.
That was a spin-off that never really made it to air. But yeah, yeah.
What
So,
also is like I said, it's just so great that I admire like her compass that she just keeps herself afloat, she keeps her family afloat, and she has this like great resilience about her because if she doesn't, who else is going to? Let's
well, that's
be serious.
it. Yeah, somebody's gotta be grounded and obviously Clint is part of that grounding force and he has really close relationship with both the kids. And so um, you know, yeah, she's gotta get up and put on a smart outfit and just take on the day, no matter what the day entails.
Yes. Whatever the day has in store for her
That's
that she
right.
doesn't know about, she's gonna
That's
handle
right.
it.
Yeah.
We talked about a little bit about how the series just provides audiences with this like messy and complicated core dynamics of different complex type of families. You know, they're tough but important conversations and topics that are being discussed both in real and, of course, dramatized ways. What have you kind of taken away from your professional experiences working on this project? Of course, as a, you know, as a parent, as yourself, as you talked about.
I think one of the really special things that we're learning from our show and from our fans is that um it's really showing all kinds of different dynamics with families and teenagers and parents and finding true love as a teen and all of these other things that obviously it's television, so it's happening in a concentrated form here, but these are real experiences for everyone. And I think that's why people relate to the show, especially young people. It's so interesting. When we first started shooting the show, my daughter was not old enough to watch the show. And now she's 15, and now all of her friends are watching, which is a bit surreal. It's a little bit surreal to have her friends sort of so invested in something that I'm a part of. But they all really connect to it, and they really connect to these characters and what's happening for everyone. And how wonderful is that, that we've created this world that people really feel very strongly about? I've gotten some lectures about Ellen's parenting style this season, and I think it's wonderful that people care so much about these characters that Sarah and all the writers have created, and then the actors and everyone else has put to tape. I think it's really amazing. I think I've learned that I really want to keep the lines of communication open as much as possible with my daughter. And we're very open lines of communication. And I know teens have to be sneaky. I know it's part of like building autonomy, but I would love to keep them so open that when she feels as desperately sad as Marcus does this season, that she would be able to voice that to me. It's heartbreaking just thinking, oh, so heartbreaking.
There's
And
always like the
he's
first
such a great
crush, the
actor. Oh,
first time that
yeah.
don't get what you want, like, like you don't get in, the part you wanted in the play, or, like
Yeah.
again, these adolescent moments of, becoming an adult, and the maturity of these
Yeah.
situations of things that everyone can relate to at the same time too, in different ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody who's a part of Wellsbury, there's something about someone that you know or you relate to, or it's someone that you you feel so invested in
Yeah.
these lives that you're witnessing. Like you said, people will, they want to give you parenting advice
I
for
know.
characters,
And
and
I
you're like,
love that. I love that they're so invested. They're like, why didn't Ellen do something sooner? And you're like, it wasn't in the script. I'm sorry. I can only do what's on the page.
exactly, exactly. If
Yeah.
I write it, I will do it. But if it's not
Yeah.
on the page, just
Yeah.
with me, okay?
I'll get there. It'll work out. It's okay. It's okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's also a great testament to the series that, people, again, that are so invested, but, these characters are kind of like an offshoot of their lives in some way or some form too.
Yeah.
That, like, my neighbor is Ellen, or like my friend is Georgia, and and you want to keep, you want to give them the support, or you want to tell them what they should do in certain situations.
Totally. I love it. And
That's
I
the best
love,
part.
yeah. Apparently, my daughter tells me the sign language of like cool and edgy and stuff is like a big thing on TikTok now. I'm like, I'm thrilled. I don't have the TikTok, but I think that's marvelous. Just me doing that. Edgy and cool. Apparently, it's a thing. So there you go.
I was gonna say, I mean, like, social media now also obviously is huge when it comes to teenagers and young adults and things like that too. And if you're not on the TikTok, and you're not on the X or the IG or the, whatever,
Yeah. Yeah.
you're not in on anything. So,
Not. I'm just hearing by Carrie. I do have Instagram. I am of an age to have Instagram. I'm too young for Facebook. I'm right in the Instagram pocket, but don't have the TikTok. That's where I land.
but I mean, the social, well, I am on all these things, of course, but
Yes, you
like
have
just
different work.
to read through like X, and the investment that people have about, like, why didn't anybody show up for Max, or like Marcus should do this, or like Jenny
I
should have
know.
told her mom, or like why were they treating this like, like the whole, like it becomes like an absolute force of
Yeah.
itself when these seasons come out. And
Yeah.
I love that it, continues to keep the conversation going. Like, whenever season 4 comes out, we're still going to be talking about whatever happened.
I love it too. I love it too. It's a testament to the stories and the characters for sure that people feel so invested. I love that.
We talk about this incredible, clever, and of course, really resonating writing that is a part of Ginny and Georgia, core of it is behind it. What really continues to impress you about this collaborative production and writing team for the series when it comes to, of course, like the writing and the construction of what we get within the season?
What I love about, Heard and all the writing team and the producing team and everybody on it is they take what they're talking about, they take it very seriously. So they don't just kind of go, oh, we're going to write a storyline about depression. They consult with a lot of people, they talk to a lot of people as they create these stories. And so I think there's a real sense of reverence to the feelings and storylines of these characters, which I think is important, right? We're talking about real stories and it is fiction, but these things have really happened to people. Episode 5, everyone keeps talking about episode 5 destroys you because that's the episode where the kids are taken from Georgia. And that, ugh, I don't want to get too dark. That's happening right now in America. Children are being pulled from their parents. And so I feel like what is special is that everything is taken very seriously and with a great amount of thought and a great amount of love that goes into these storylines. And I think that's a big part of it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These are again quite heavy topics: depression, alcoholism,
Yeah.
being separated from your parents, being taken away, and this happens every day, and a lot of family dynamics, and the fact that the writers just are putting out these important stories and this giving this important lens to these topics. Again, they're resonating because they happen all the time, but they also are happening further even now more like with all the political climate that's going on,
Yeah.
it's all coming to a really big head and we're all more conscious of it too.
Yes.
Maybe before, people were like, could scroll past certain things or
Yes.
look past certain things, but now every day there's something different or something that you can't look away from and you should be invested in, you should care, you should
Yeah.
have an opinion.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Have an opinion, even if it feels scary.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because a lot of I feel like a lot of humanity has become quite tested lately.
Yes. Yes. Oh, we didn't think we'd be on here in the Ginny and Georgia interview, did we? Yeah,
Right.
here we are.
We're
Woo,
going down another rabbit hole.
going down. We're going to start a new podcast starting next week called Jen and Lisa Talk About the World. Woo!
We'll be there.
We'll be there.
But in all seriousness, too, again, you talked about the scene, of the kids being taken away from Georgia, but there's also this really gut-wrenching scene for the Baker family, and Marcus and Maxine and Clint and Ellen, and it's really kind of directed towards Ellen a lot as well. And there's this gut-wrenching scene where he just kind of breaks down, and it has this just visceral, just absolute heartbreaking moment for Marcus. And it's, happening like, again, like right to your character, like right within her face. And Felix just does this incredible job with this important
Yeah.
performance. And his portrayal this season has just really, really been so impressive.
Yeah.
And wanted to talk a little bit about this scene and kind of breaking down these really like palpable, tense moment that is that's transpiring between this family and how you all kind of maybe constructed these breaths of utter just utter emotionalism that you can't you can't look away, like you can't look away from, but it's also like tearing you apart at the same time too.
Yeah. Yeah. That scene, obviously, the was a big culmination of the season for that storyline. And everybody knew it was a big, big scene for the family. For Felix, you're right. He did an unbelievable job in that scene. And we rehearsed it long before we shot it, which is very uncommon. Um, in shows, we had a private rehearsal with our director weeks and weeks before. And I think it was to just start that um, emotional process for all of us. And it was a really heavy scene. And I trust everyone in that scene. And we all trust each other so much as actors, and we all adore each other as people. And so I think we all felt safe to go to a pretty big, pretty dark place. But we were checking in. That was our last shooting day for all of us for the season. And we were talking, Sarah and Felix and I, probably for 2 weeks afterwards. We were calling each other and texting each other to check in because it was so gut-wrenchingly sad. And even though you're acting, it's still kind of in your body. And so we were just sort of checking in with each other a lot to just kind of try to try to get it out of our systems because it was so beautiful to shoot, but it was really sad. It's really sad. But then it's the hump. It's the hump that takes him,
So, yeah.
you know, to
This
get
is how you
help.
to get that exactly. That's when you have the rock bottom where you have this huge emotional crash out, that's when it starts to get the help that you need.
Yep.
Um, then the brighter side or the lighter side at least brings that hope that
Yeah. It's the darkest before the dawn moment for the Bakers, for sure. Yeah. And poor Max just,
again, yeah.
I know.
She just had so much of the brunt this season that I
She
felt
does.
like for Sarah that I was, well, everybody again had like such emotional, such, really
Yeah.
heaviness again. And I felt for everyone, but again, as being a twin and I'm a female,
Yeah.
that a part of we're both females, obviously, because we're identical, but being
Yeah.
a female,
Yeah.
that, like I felt so much in the sensitivity for her that she just, felt so unseen this season or felt so dismissed this season, not
Yeah.
just from her friends at school, but also again at the family. Like when you're supposed to come, the place that you're supposed to consider your safe place, the people you're
Yeah.
supposed to, have that care about you unconditionally, you just feel kind of by the wayside, or you feel kind of like invisible to your entire life.
I
I
know. And because Max's character is so sparkly usually and
Right.
jovial, it's even harder to watch this and she's also so funny as a person. And I also wanted to tell someone asked me who's funny. And I said, well, obviously Sarah's hilarious. I go, but also Felix is funny. And people need to know that he's actually funny. He's just plays this terribly sad young man, but he's actually a very funny person also. But yeah, to see Sarah's character, to see her, you know, that sparkle just be kind of toned down is really hard to watch. I know. Oh, Ellen, get it together in season 4. Help your daughter now. Oh,
All right, that's all right. I mean, if Marcus, is always getting the help or, seeking the attention he needs, hopefully
yeah.
Ellen will now have a new focus for Max and she'll get that comfort, get that safety back for her.
And Ellen's gonna like go to a rage room and smash some vases, do whatever she needs to do for her mental health.
Yes.
Take Georgia with her. Then go to a rage. That would be fun. I would
Yeah. I
just
mean,
that.
girls' night, go for it.
Go, go smash some things. Yep. Eh,
Me and George and say we're already pitching storylines for season 4. Where's the writers' room when we need them?
yeah. They're working right now. I'll send them a text. They're furiously writing season 4, so
Beyond the writing, I really like and enjoy the lens that the different directors provide throughout the season. It's not just one person filming, like 8, 10 episodes of things that
yeah.
get a great look into um, these dynamics in this town, these people, this community through different directors' lens. One of my favorite directors is April Mullins, and
Mm.
I love her.
She was
Um,
our first off the bat. We were with April. She was first up,
I've
episode 1 and
Yeah, I was
2.
going to say like, which have been your favorite but not necessarily season 3, but maybe overall
Yeah.
specifically.
Well, I can't pick a favorite. Can't pick a favorite. Um, all of the directors have come and brought very, very cool things. And like you said, I think it is healthy for the series to have different directors come in. We've had a couple come back. Sharon was back this year, which was awesome. Um, it's fun. It's like you have this sort of world in this game, and then you call in a director and go, come and play with us for a month. Let's do a thing. And so I think it keeps it fresh for everybody in a way. You know, you can't kind of settle into a routine per se because you're going to have a different person whose style of directing might be a little bit different. Of course, you have the continuity of the series and your characters and everything, but the directors are really fun. And, you know, even back to Anya Adams, who was our series director for the very beginning, we still talk all the time. Like, you know, you form these really special connections and they're all great. If they've chosen them, they're going to be great. You know, they go through a long vetting process. So,
Yeah, they offer a really great like diverse focus on
yeah,
topics that we see, and again these core dynamics and the families and the town, this community, the spirit of Wellsbury and
yeah,
the tone. So I love to watch and know that there's somebody different here or there, and you kind of notice certain things, but.
okay.
Yeah, so I love that there's a different focus, and you can kind of tell the touches of someone here and a different person there through the scope of watching each episode.
Yeah, yeah, totally. I
With
agree.
season three, of course, just coming out.
Yes.
It's so new.
Oh
I
no.
get that it's almost like going to be, it's not a whole week, but almost a week old.
Hmm.
There's just again just a really wonderful conversations that are happening through social media, and um, I love that we can share in the fact that like, this world of chaos, but
Yeah,
also brings you a lot of heart at the same time too, at its core.
yeah.
That these characters, that these families, they feel real in certain ways. What would you kind of like to see evolving for the Baker family in season four? We sort of touched a little bit upon, obviously, certain aspects, but
Yeah.
going forward, Ellen get it together, but at the same time, like as a family, more as a whole.
Yeah, I mean, I think for Ellen, obviously there's been a big event that has happened, and so I'm hoping that everybody I hope it goes well for Marcus at rehab. Obviously, that's a whole different dynamic too, right? Is having someone come home from being in rehab is also something very delicate. And I hope Ellen doesn't try to make it too cheerful. I don't think she's over the top cheerful, but I do think she prefers it that everybody's okay. So I think probably season four will be a lot of her recognizing that everybody's not okay, and that's okay that everybody's not okay.
And you can't fix things in an instant either.
No,
At the same time,
no.
everything takes
You can't give someone an
time.
art studio and then they're better, you know, which her heart is always in the right place. And so I think there'll be a grounding. I think maybe a grounding to her character in season four, maybe. We'll see. I don't know what the writers are writing. I trust them. They know what they're doing.
Yes, again, kudos. This is just another exceptional season of the series,
Yeah.
and I really take so much of it to heart myself. And in the meantime, while we wait for season four, while it gets
Yeah.
written and tossed around,
Yep.
are there any other projects that we'll get to see you coming up in as well, or anything on the horizon?
Yes, we'll start shooting later this year for season four. Then I recently, you're going to see a little bit of me in Colleen Hoover novel turned movie called Reminders of Him. So that was fun to be a part of that. So you can look for that in the meantime.
Wonderful.
Yeah.